I'm meteorologist Brianna Mowry, and we are continuing to track the tropics as Tropical Storm Debby approaches the South Carolina coast. Those impacts going to be now until tomorrow morning, so that's tonight and through the overnight hours. We are expecting those higher impacts. That impact going to be more storms with heavy rainfall, and that could lead to some flooding across the area. And of course, charge the electronics have a way to receive alerts. You can download our News 19 app, and we can send notifications out to you if need be. So right now, Debby is still off the coast, but moving very slowly at just 3 miles per hour. It's expected to make a landfall through the overnight hours tonight, and we are going to continue to track that through the evening. I'm meteorologist Brianna Mowry, and we are continuing to track the tropics as Tropical Storm Debby approaches the South Carolina coast. The time frame that we are watching is now until Friday, and more specifically Friday morning. We could still see some of those showers impacting us, and again, that impact going to be some windy conditions and more rain on top of what we've already seen here in the Midlands, and that could lead to some threats for flooding. We are going to keep monitoring as Debby approaches, but charge your mobile devices, have a way to receive alerts. Download the News 19 app. We will send you alerts there for any flood warnings we get that get issued from the National Weather Service. So what those those tips you could do not walk or drive through flooded areas. It's not safe, and you don't know exactly how deep that water is until you're already in it. And have a plan. If you need to evacuate on short notice, go ahead and bring those important paperwork or documents, grab the pets. And another thing that would be important is to stay away from those downed power lines and avoid contact with the flood waters. It's just not safe. And if we do have those down power lines, could see some electricity moving into that water, so definitely not safe. Avoid the water if possible. Here's what we see right now with Debby. Right now, or the latest advisory, moving very, very slow at 3 miles per hour. So Debby is hardly moving, and it's sort of just sitting off the coast, and that because of that, we aren't expecting a landfall until overnight tonight, somewhere between Charleston and Myrtle Beach. So here's a view of a current radar. We can see where those heavy rain bands are setting up and sort of spinning around the state, especially the eastern half of South Carolina. We'll see some more of those rain bands moving into the Midlands very soon. If you haven't seen any of that rain yet, it is coming, and we are going to continue to track that as this situation or this event unfolds tonight. So where we're going to see Debby next, we'll see it make a landfall somewhere between Charleston and Myrtle Beach, and that's going to be around 2 a.m. through the overnight hours. Debby then tracks to the north and then through North Carolina before moving up into the northeast. So flood watch is still out there until 8 o'clock Friday morning, as we could still see some of that heavy rainfall even into earlier Friday morning. So still something to watch out for as we continue our week. Again, us at News 19 going to monitor for you. Follow us on social media or download that app for the latest updates. Tropical advisories up and down the coast. We've got tropical storm watches through the entire South Carolina coast, and those extend into North Carolina as well ahead of Debby's second landfall. We are going to still see that excessive rainfall risk going into tonight, where we have a medium to high risk of flooding across the Midlands, even into the far eastern Midlands. That high risk for flooding tonight in the eastern part of the state. Thursday, that continues, medium to high threat for those flooding concerns. We are going to continue to track that into Friday as well. Still a flood threat, although much lower compared to what we're seeing now out there. And of course, by Saturday, the flood threat finally gone through the entire state, and we will see some improvement going into the weekend. So a closer look at the Midlands. Tonight, we have that slight risk for the central Midlands for some flooding concerns, marginal risk, which is the lowest for our far western Midlands. And if we go toward the eastern Midlands, that's where we see that high to even or moderate to even high level for flooding going toward the eastern part of the Midlands. And we've already seen some flooding concerns there tonight. Going into Thursday, still that slight to moderate risk for flooding tomorrow into Friday night. And then into Friday, we have that lower risk for flooding through the day on Friday. And then again by Saturday, things are finally looking like they're going to improve. The rainfall forecast, we are going to still see for a lot of the state 5, 6, even 7 inches or more in some places going into the rest of this week. So still seeing that flooding concern. That's our main concern. We will see those breezy conditions with some gusty winds, but that rainfall going to be the primary concern. Here for the Midlands, that latest rainfall forecast for our far western Midlands, we are going to see some lower rainfall amounts for the central Midlands, still an inch or 2, 3 inches possible in some spots. And then, of course, the far eastern Midlands, that highest threat for that heavy rainfall. Some areas could see as high as 7 more inches, and that's on top of what's already fallen. For that weather, this is the rainfall forecast from the Weather Prediction Center. That was from our in-house model. This is from the Weather Prediction Center for the entire state. Still likely to see 5 to 7 inches in the eastern part of the state between now and the next 7 days. That is also still for the Midlands as well. We could see 3 to 4 inches for a lot of the Midlands, even 5 or more for the far eastern Midlands, 2 to 3 for the far western Midlands. Tropical storm wind chances for the state very high along the coast, where we see those areas in purple. Of course, as we move farther inland, we are going to be seeing some lower chances for tropical storm force winds, but we are still going to see those breezy and even pretty windy high wind gusts out there. With the ground being so saturated, it doesn't take much wind to cause some issues. But this is a zoomed in look at the Midlands. We are still seeing fairly low chance for tropical storm winds. Rain continues to be that primary threat, but we are still going to see those wind gusts out there, and that's all the way through Saturday morning. So wind forecast, we are seeing through tonight, we'll see those pretty high wind gusts, 40-mile-per-hour gusts in some places tonight, and that continues through the overnight hours. Going into Thursday morning, we'll see upwards of 30 to 40 continuing for the eastern Midlands. Central and western Midlands, you could see upwards of 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts going into the night, and into tomorrow morning, we'll still see a breezy day tomorrow. So the breezy conditions are going to be here for a while. Going into the rest of your Thursday lunchtime, things look a little like they're going to improve, but we're still going to be dealing with those 30 to 40-mile-per-hour gusts through the evening. And then finally, by later Thursday night into Friday, things look like they might finally be improving more closer into the Midlands. To going into tomorrow morning, we're still seeing those upwards of 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and these are going to be sticking around a while on top of that rain. So again, it doesn't take much wind with the already saturated ground to cause some problems. We've already seen many trees coming down, so something to be aware of and to watch out for. By Friday morning, we're seeing a lot more calm conditions, especially by Friday at lunchtime. Those wind gusts back in the single digits. So definitely some improvement for the end of the week. But until we get there, we still have weather impact alert day issued for tomorrow and into the morning on Friday, as those breezy conditions, wind gusts, and heavy rainfall with flooding potential continues to stay a threat throughout the week. But going into the weekend, we'll finally see lower rain chances. We'll see calmer winds as well. Temperatures will be back in the low 90s. They're cool out there right now because of all the cloud cover, but we'll see more sunshine this weekend, leading those temperatures back into the 90s. And then throughout the week, we will continue to see temperatures staying in the upper 80s, low 90s. We see that chance for some isolated showers and storms returning through next week, but certainly not like we're seeing now. And we are not going to see quite as high of a flood threat, but we still need to keep an eye on the forecast. We'll bring you continuing coverage as Tropical Storm Debby continues to approach the South Carolina coast here at News 19.